Welcome into Mavericks Today by Chat Sports. I'm Jeffrey Cooperstein. Great to be with you guys after the long weekend. I just wanted to look ahead to the second half of the 24-25 season and take a look at where the Mavericks sit, what they need to do to get themselves in the best position possible to get to the postseason, and some injury updates as well. So we'll get into all that here in just a few moments, but I do want to ask you guys this right off the bat. Predict the Mavs' final record for me. Get down in the comment section and let me know what you guys think. I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say. It's going to be interesting to see what the Mavericks do. They have a big stretch of games here coming up that we'll get into. But first, let's take a look at where they sit in the standings right now. The Mavericks are currently 8th in the Western Conference there. They are 2 games back of the 6th seed Los Angeles Clippers, sitting at 30-26. It's crazy to think that the Mavericks were a couple plays away against Sacramento from a 5-game winning streak after the Luka trade heading into the All-Star break. Never would have imagined that, but they did position themselves pretty well after the trade and heading into the All-Star break to try to do some damage here. However, when you look at the standings here, you're 4 games out of 5th. I would say the 6th seed for the Mavericks is probably the ceiling. That avoids the play-in. That gets you the full week off before the playoffs start. I kind of think if everything goes according to plan, that's where they're going to sit because they're still dealing with a bunch of injuries, and we'll get to those at the back end of today's show. They're still dealing with just consistency issues in general, and they have a really tough stretch here coming up. You have the Pelicans and Warriors to start out, followed by the Lakers, the Hornets, and the Bucks. Then you have the Kings, the Bucks again, Grizzlies, Suns, and then Spurs, and then they have the Spurs again after that. So I think in this 10-game stretch here, when you look at games that you need to win, you obviously, I think, have to beat the Pelicans. I think you have to beat the Hornets. Ideally, you split the Bucks. You need to beat the Kings. All in all, and when you do the math here, I think 6-4 at minimum is required in this first 10-game stretch out of the All-Star break. You just can't go 500 or worse here. You can't lose ground in the Western Conference standings, and you need to keep that upward trajectory, which, believe it or not, the Mavericks are kind of on, going 4-1 in their last 5 heading into the break. So hopefully they're going to get PJ Washington back here for this game on Friday against the Pelicans, and they'll start getting some guys healthy, start getting some reinforcements, and they'll be able to do a little bit of damage here in the Western Conference. We'll get to the rest of today's show here in just a sec, but I want to ask you guys this. I haven't had to ask this question in a very, very long time being a Mavericks fan. Who is the Mavericks' best player? There's obviously between 2 players, in Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving. One's always hurt. One is load managing, but is really good himself. I'm not sure if there's a right or wrong answer here, and it's crazy that I even have to ask this question, but let me know what you guys think. I'm curious to hear what Mavericks fans have to say because I myself don't even know the answer. Let me know. And while you're doing that, I want to tell you guys about our sponsor, which of course is PrizePicks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. PrizePicks has over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, making daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just make more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. The second half of the basketball season is almost here, and make sure you get in on the action with our friends over at PrizePicks, the best place to get real money action in over 30 states, including California, Georgia, Florida, and, of course, Texas. They put their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. And when my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. There's no hockey, there's no basketball, so I went with a soccer projection for all you soccer heads out there. I took the more on Kylian Mbappe's shots on target. I took the less on Luka Modric, 64.5 passes attempted, and I took the more on Harry Kane goals. So you can copy my picks or you can make picks of your own. Just please make sure you do it with our friends over at PrizePicks. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS to get a $50 bonus when you play your first $5 lineup. You don't even need to win to receive that bonus. It is guaranteed. Again, download the app, use code CLNS to get that $50 bonus when you play your first $5 lineup. That link will be in the comments and the description of today's show. It is PrizePicks. Run your game. We do have a positive injury update surrounding the Mavericks, and according to reports, Dwight Powell has been working out fully over the break out in Miami, and maybe his return is looking imminent. According to some people, it's looked like he was full go and doing everything that a basketball player does, so that's a good sign. However, the fact that we are happy about a Dwight Powell positive injury update is just a sad state of affairs because the big man room for the Mavericks right now is absolutely depleted, and no one's coming back anytime soon. Dereck Lively not expected to return until April. Daniel Gafford also April. He could be out for the rest of the regular season, maybe even some of the playoffs if the Mavericks make it that far. No one really knows on Anthony Davis. Maybe it's next week. Maybe it's 5 weeks from now. No one really knows on that one. They're just kind of trying to manage and see how it goes. So Dwight Powell may be their best hope to actually get some actual size on this roster. And it just is so sad. How is he still a part of this team? He was part of the Rajon Rondo trade in December of 2014, and he's still here. Luka Doncic got traded before Dwight Powell is off this team, man. It's really ridiculous. He's the longest tenured Mav by a long time. And I know I said this on a show. Do you guys know who the second longest tenured Maverick is right now? Well, I'll tell you. It's Jaden Hardy. He was drafted in the 2022 NBA draft. This is a whole new team. Dwight Powell has seen a lot of shit go on in this organization. And he is, he's a good Samaritan. He's a great servant to the organization. So no problems with Dwight. But it's just a sad state of affairs when he is your longest tenured Mav. And you're going to be relying on him to play heavy minutes down the stretch if he gets healthy. This is kind of what I think your temporary starting five would look like if everyone is fully healthy. It's Kyrie, Exum, Klay Thompson, PJ Washington, and Daniel Gafford. Now, obviously, when Anthony Davis is in here, Davis will slide in there. You probably take Exum out, so you play a little bit bigger as well. You could throw Max Christie in there, but the way Jason Kidd likes to operate, he loves having two ball handlers out on the court. So this is kind of how I see it going. I probably would do it differently. Hopefully you get Gafford back soon, but you're going to be looking at Dwight Powell playing some heavy center minutes in that center spot for the time being at least. But grade the Mavericks starting five that we just saw on your screen. What do you think it would be? Do it 2K style. Scale of 1 to 100. It's not great. I'd probably say like a 78 to an 80 at best. They're dealing with a bunch of injuries right now. Hopefully they can get the likes of Gafford and Powell Lively, healthy soon so they can start winning some games here down the stretch and try to position themselves to the playoffs. Before we get on out of here, I want to tell you guys about what happened here in the All-Star game. Kyrie Irving's team, I believe they were called Shaq's OGs, had 11 points and 5 assists in their victory. Now, they did a 3-on-3 tournament, so they played 2 different games. It was first to 40, and Kyrie, looked pretty good. There's a photo of him going up for a dunk there, which Kyrie Irving doesn't do very much, but the All-Star game itself is just a joke, and Adam Silver has made everything even worse in this All-Star game format. They're trying different things, and I get it, but figure this out. Look at what the NHL is doing with the Four Nations tournament right now, and the NBA should go implement a very similar strategy to that. Give me an international basketball tournament over a 2-week break during the season. I'm in on that. Adam Silver, if you need any tips on how to fix the NBA, you can hit me up. But that'll do it for today's show. Please be sure to hit that subscribe button. It's youtube.com/MavsTV. Stay tuned, lock us in, and we'll see you soon here on the channel. Thanks for watching.